Minecraft players are obsessed with how useful something can be. This isn't news. Just look at the mob vote, for example. Usually each year, the most useful mob that brings the most to the game is the one that wins. Mobs are useful for a variety of reasons. Some might have a unique item you can't get anywhere else. Some might make good pets and companions. Others you can throw in a 1x2 hole with a workstation and farm emeralds forever from them. Oh, come on, you know it's true. They'll come around. But today I wanted to talk about some underrated mobs that you might not use in every single survival world you make. Off the top of my head, I can think of 5 that are worth discussing. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy the list. Number 5. Added in the recent Trails and Tales update, the Camel is one of Minecraft's newest additions. They are fairly uncommon, however, only spawning 1 per every desert village in the town square. Camels can be bred with cactus, so if you can manage to find 2 desert villages within walking distance, you can breed them up pretty easily, and get a decent amount of them quickly. What makes them useful is their ability to be ridden. Think of a camel like a horse with a slightly different stat spread. They're a little bit bigger and a little bit slower. Like the horse, they're mounted with saddles. Unlike the horse, however, the camel is a little bit slow and kinda clunky to ride. But this isn't their main use. They're not really supposed to be fast. Think about the desert as a biome. There's not really much you have to be afraid of or anywhere you need to get quickly. However, there are a lot of chasms like this, and what the camel can do is its jump is more of a dash, horizontally. It can cross large gaps very well. It just might not get there the fastest. Camels are also a fair bit larger than horses. They stand at about 3 to 4 blocks tall. This means if you're sitting on one, mobs that are 2 blocks tall can't hit you unless you hit them. So you can ride the camel through the desert, which keep in mind husks don't burn during the day, and you're relatively safe up here. Skeletons will still be able to shoot you, but just don't go out at night. Camel's other main use is that 2 people can ride them at once, which no horse can possibly do. They're not crazy, but they're often overlooked, and I'd call that underrated. Number 4. Being the only mob in the Nether not actively trying to kill you makes the Strider already pretty helpful. But what uses does it have? Striders do 2 things. For one, they can drop string, but that doesn't make them very useful at all. Lots of things drop string. But secondly, you can use a saddle and mount them, and use a warped fungus on a stick to guide them across lava. This is one of the easiest ways to get across the Nether, and you can even find some hidden structures like this. In Bedrock Edition, bastions can almost spawn inside of Nether caves. So if you follow a little path like this, you might just find one that you never would have seen before. This right here is a treasure bastion, and I checked all throughout it. This is the only possible way you ever would have seen this. It's completely landlocked otherwise. So for helping you find new structures, being the one thing in the Nether that's not actively trying to kill you, and having a semi-useful drop-in string, I would definitely call the Strider underrated. Very underappreciated mob as well. Number 3. Dolphins have 2 good uses. For one, they give you Dolphin's Grace if you swim with them, which is just an outright speed buff. But their second use is a little bit less known. They're pretty fast and won't necessarily stop swimming when you hold them. But if you hold a raw fish of any kind, the dolphin will start to circle you, and if you feed one, it'll emit white particles and lead you to a shipwreck or an underwater ruin. This is clutch if you can't find one on your own, because sometimes they can be quite rare. This means in theory you're trading a raw cod for potentially diamonds, iron, bottles of enchanting, treasure maps, and a whole lot of other good loot. Dolphins can lead you to sniffer eggs, they can lead you to pottery sherds, armor trims, a whole lot of stuff that's only found in the newer updates as well. So they definitely haven't gotten out of date, which some mobs have. Their Dolphin's Grace ability is not to be underestimated either. You swim a whole lot faster with it, and all it takes is just 1 dolphin. If the ability could stack, and if you had a whole pod of them swimming with you to go extra fast, they might be even higher on this list, but as it stands now, dolphins are criminally underrated, and you should use them more. Number 2. The Alay is easily the best mob to ever come out of the vote, and I don't even really think it's particularly close. After rescuing them from either a pillager outpost or a woodland mansion, the Alay will collect whatever blocker item you give them. For example, in this clip I have them holding carrots, so whenever there ends up being a carrot on the ground, they run over and then they'll give it to me. They can really be helpful when gathering resources, such as wood, apples, or sticks from fallen trees, or usually I use them for crops. It speeds it up a lot. When holding an item, they'll follow you around forever. The Alay are particularly fond of music. If you play any track in a jukebox and give the Alay an amethyst shard, they'll actually duplicate themselves. So all you have to do is save one of them, and in theory you have unlimited, which that's a lot of helpers. Plus, just look at their dancing animation and tell me you don't want this around your world. They also have interesting lore implications. Check out the Tailcraft series if you want to hear more about that. In the end, Alays are a huge ally and help. I really like them. Number 1. If you just have one beehive around a farm, you've just doubled your crop production. Bees are so underrated, it's not even funny. Bees can come from hives or nests. Bee nests spawn naturally on trees, and bee hives, you can craft them with honeycombs, which you get from bee nests, if you harvest them with shears. If you harvest them with a bottle, you'll get food. Basically how they work is a bee will leave its hive or nest and go to a flower. It'll then try to pollinate the flower, and then head back to its hive or nest. Every single crop it passes over while it's pollinated, it'll grow. See that little green sparkle right there? It's basically the bone meal effect. So if you stack a bunch of bees, your crops can grow pretty much instantly. If you harvest a honeycomb with shears, you can use that to make a candle, which on their own are some of the best decorations in the game. Just like the Alay, they're very easy to get more of. You just breed them with flowers. It's that simple. We did a whole mob bestiary entry on the bees in an episode of Tailcraft. I'll tag it on the screen above. There's a secret reason bees are useful that not a whole lot of players know about. And it's kind of how they're loyal to each other more than you. Just check out what something else tries to attack. There's so many mobs in Minecraft, so next time you sit down to play survival or you make a new world, I challenge you, try to use a mob from this video, or better yet, try to use one that I didn't mention. That's a truly underrated mob. That's gonna do it for today though. Kingpin out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed.